Boys are back in town. Boys are back in town. Do 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 do. Boys are back in town. Here we go. You right, mate?
I think I'm all right. You all right, mate?
I'm good.
Good to see
Look
you.
at this. Good to see you. Reunited. It feels so good.
Together again. Tell you what's wrong though, Dan.
What's wrong?
Flipping main lights on, isn't it? That's no good.
I was going to say.
You're going to be hurting our white balance, baby.
No, yeah, we don't want that.
We don't want that.
No, indeed. Hello, everybody. As you can see, Mick and I are back in the same room. We have a lovely partition up. We're trying to be good boys. But it is time.
It's time. How are we for level, Dan? Yeah, cool. I think we're there.
Good.
Bit quiet, probably.
Okay.
It's hard to tell, you know, these days. Welcome, everyone, to VCQ. We are back in the room.
And we're back in the room.
Yeah, we're back in the room. Why are we back in the room, Dan?
Well,
move your chair forward, you.
COVID restrictions have eased slightly today.
Huh?
I said COVID restrictions have eased slightly today. And the travel ban has been lifted.
Yeah.
All that good stuff.
One of the principal reason we weren't working together before was that there's a heavy travel restrictions in place in England. It's different in various parts of the UK, but they are now released and you can travel around a bit more. You're still not supposed to mix indoors for social work, social stuff, but for work you can, as long as you follow the social distancing protocols and all of that, which we are doing. And as we've proved for the last 2 weeks, we can't do it remotely. So there you go. If the police want to come and truncheon us up,
Ecky thump.
yeah. Anyway, hello. So as you'll see, Super Chat is not turned on because we've got quite a lot to catch up on.
Right.
Let's just not do any Super Chats tonight. New ones, we'll just do old ones, catch up, and then we'll have a chat if there's any time left.
Yeah, man. Awesome.
Oh, how have you been, mate?
Yeah. Okay. Really missed this. It's been tough. Yeah. The vlogs have been really interesting.
Yeah.
But I've really missed being in the room with you and doing what we do.
Likewise. It's hard, isn't it, on your Todd?
Far out, man.
No interaction.
No. I've come to garner a whole new appreciation for Simon and you when you're doing editing. Far out. Because like normally I'll do some prep and I'll build the boards and stuff and we'll get 2 or 3 videos shot in a day. But once I leave, that's basically me done. Whereas now it's like that the Gilmore one that I did, Fraser Like Gilmore, I dread to think of the amount of hours. My wife could probably tell you, but the amount of hours spent just editing that. And you go back over it, you realise the colour isn't right. Got to go back and do it all again. It's like, wow. Yeah, so there we go.
Yeah. It's, yeah.
Martin Moyano, I'm unbelievably happy right now. So are we, Martin.
Yeah.
Cheers, buddy.
Thanks, so are we. It's great to be back among you, as it were. Warm in here, isn't it?
It's warm.
It's
the love, baby. It's the love.
As if lifting the travel restrictions wasn't enough. The sun has come out.
Yeah. Have you seen it's going to be, I think, mid-20s tomorrow?
No way.
There's a 60% chance of snow on Sunday. Seriously. Yes.
Awesome.
Medieval Cookery with Arpad. Is Dan going to start a ZZ Top tribute band? I wish. I don't have any of his funk and glory. But,
I told you about back in the days before such things were quite as horrific as they would be now. ZZ Topless.
Seems awful.
I thought that would be quite a draw.
Yeah. You've got to do on a double bill with Wobbly Wibbliams. Yeah. Yeah, cool. Oh, man. I remember doing some... when we used to do gigs... funnily enough, I'm just doing a vlog now that includes some images and stuff of some gigs I used to do when I was much younger.
No way.
Some of the bands I was in. And we used to travel out to places like Gunnedah and, really rural. And there's one place we went to. It was the pub, and it was the topless night at the pub.
Wow.
Yeah. The same staff, and shall we say, it wasn't their idea.
Yeah.
Bless them. But they were like,
Well, it is mad how much things have changed in a relatively short space of time, all for the good, I might add.
yes,
But,
yes.
even I can remember wet t-shirt contests.
Oh man, still going on.
That
still
stuff
quite
actually
recently.
happened.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, madness. Anyway, G Barge, hello G. He says, hello mates, an hour early today. No, what it is, G, is in most of Europe, we go on to we go on to summertime. In our case, it's British summertime, where we go an hour ahead of GMT. It makes it darker in the morning and lighter in the evenings. And I think it's there. Why is it there? Something to do with farming. Don't know.
Curtains,
Yeah.
cows.
Yeah. We're a bit bright, don't you think?
I think it's fine, Mick.
I think it might be a bit bright.
Okay.
I think it might be a bit bright. Let's have an extra stop, shall we? Look at that. Oh, nice. So, hello, G. Seattle Phil. Didn't even notice the partition until he touched it. Yeah, I tried to get it straight up, but unfortunately there is a bit of a gap there.
Does that irk you, that gap? Is that hard?
Yeah. I mean, to be honest, let's be honest. I don't know how much good the screen is doing, Dan, but it's an effort.
It is. It
Yeah.
is. We've made an effort.
We do. Amish Dan says, Mike.
Yeah, that'll do.
JPD3, I bought a Cornford over lockdown. Have you guys had any experience with them? Yes.
Wow, yeah. That Mark, was it the Mark?
The MK2, the Martin Kidd 2.
Yes, there you go. Yeah, the 50 watt one. Extraordinary. I heard Richie Kotzen at one of the first guitar shows I did,
Yeah.
playing through his Cornford. Far out, man. It was something else.
Yeah. For those of you who don't know, the designer of Cornford amps is a guy called Martin Kidd. Martin is now the chief designer at Victory Amps. So there's quite a lot of crossover in the lineage there. Yeah. And then Cornford had some financial problems, I think, and in a bid to save the company, as it were, they brought out what was called the Roadhouse series, which was a more cost-effective version. Yeah, cool.
Yeah.
Nice.
Really good.
Great
really
amps.
good amps.
Great amps. Greetings from Belfast, Maine. Hello to Belfast, Maine, David Clark. BV is on today. BV, thank you for moderating.
Yeah, cheers,
Says the sound
BV.
levels are fine. Gordon Rankin says he's got the J&J vaccine 3 weeks ago. Looks like May for the first show outside of in Florida.
Awesome.
I guess J&J is one of the American
The
vaccines.
Johnson.
Is it?
Yeah.
As in the talcum powder people?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Right, nice. Who else we got? John Channing. Thanks, John. Return of the dynamic duo. Jamie Gillies. Sounds from the Snug says, holy shit, it's actual Dan. The boys are back, says Puppy Cow. Yeah, cool. So hello to everyone. Hello from Chicago, says Phazone. Fraser. Fraser's on. Hello, Fraser. He says, hello, guys.
G'day, mate. Wow, awesome.
In which case, celebratory purchase coming on the store, chaps. Much love, says Ross Strachan. Awesome. Thanks,
cheers,
Ross.
Ross.
Thanks, Ross. Yeah, and to everyone who has bought stuff from that pedal show store, thank you, because it's kept us in business.
Indeed.
And well, it keeps us in business, but particularly over the lockdown when we weren't really making that many videos and all that. We are immensely grateful for that support.
Yeah. Definitely.
Shalom from Israel, says Anthony Lee. Shalom.
I found out, check this out. My niece has been doing some stuff on Ancestry.com. And turns out that Steinhardt's from way back when are Jewish.
No way.
Yeah. So there we go.
There you go. Shalom.
Shalom indeed.
Yeah. I thought you were going to say you were Amish.
What's an Amish with you?
Hi from Poland, says Jan Krakowiak. He says, finally, I have something to listen to while soldering my clone. Good on you. Podcast, by the way, we've let the podcast really slip. We've got plans to bring it back. We just need to do it.
Yeah.
And apologies for those of you who like to listen to the podcast. Not that you're probably watching this, but yes, we will bring it back. It's just been... Google Chrome isn't your default browser, it says. It's just been... trying to do everything has been a bit difficult. As you can see by Production Corner now, Dan.
Man, it's great. There's some really exciting stuff happening.
There is.
And I cannot wait to show you guys. Yeah. Some really cool things coming up.
40 Watt Podcast says, so glad to have you all back in the room. 40 Watt Podcast, that sounds good. It's loud, but it's good. Here in Michigan, there's always a chance of snow, said somebody, and I've now lost who that was. Arbastow says hello from Greece. Blimey, loads on today.
Can't wait to get back to Greece.
Loads on today, yes. Mozgojad 75. Mozgojad says, the first time live with you guys. Thank you. All the best. We're going back to the rehearsal rooms, hopefully. Yeah.
Oh, mate.
Yeah. Nearly bought a drum kit today, just for everyone's...
you didn't get it?
I'm talking to him tomorrow.
Nice. So, in other words, you nearly bought a drum kit doesn't mean that you didn't buy a drum kit. It's like you've made the first step towards buying the drum kit.
Yeah. Well, there's 3 bits to this drum kit. There's a kick drum, 2 toms.
Yeah.
The maximum number of toms allowed.
Exactly.
And I said, look, we're going to need a whole drum set. So please advise us on when you're going to need the cracky one there, the ones there, and the ones there.
Right.
Yeah.
What about the one?
Yes, and the
Din, 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 din.
There is a fantastic Sesame Street sketch
Right.
from, well, when I was a kid, so that's blooming 40 years ago. Where this guy, he's blue, the guy's blue, and he's got a little moustache. I always think he looks like Steve Lukather, weirdly.
Okay.
And he goes
That'll
into
get
the
back.
he goes into the music store, and he's the counter's there. And he walks into the music store and he goes, "Hi, I'd like to buy a." And then the guy comes back and he goes, "Yeah, sure, I've got your." And he's like, "No, I wanted a." He goes, "Oh, I'm so sorry. Goes away, comes back and he goes, "I've got your dang 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 dang." If anyone can remember that Sesame Street sketch, then
That's brilliant.
Yeah, and I always thought the guy really did look like Steve Lukather. So, with apologies to Steve Lukather. Yeah, little blue guy he was.
Okay, I'm now looking for that.
Right, let's do these super chats then. The ones we missed from Dos Weekos Agos.
Yep.
It was my birthday, wasn't it?
It was your birthday.
Yep.
How was your birthday?
It was brilliant, thanks.
Good.
Yeah,
Good. I'm really glad.
it was great.
Even though I wasn't here to celebrate it with you,
Thanks, mate.
I'm glad you had a great day, despite the fact that I wasn't here.
I managed.
You had a brilliant.
We
Sounded
ma-
like you had the best time ever.
Well, you know, it obviously
and-
wasn't as good as it could have been.
That's all I needed.
Yeah,
So it was a good day then.
I think so. I bought myself some nice old second-hand British hi-fi off eBay.
Oh yes.
Yeah, and oh man, different record collection.
Right.
I'm quite enthused by music in higher fidelity.
You're right.
I'm trying to persuade some friends to build a little Valve pre and power hi-fi amp.
Right.
But anyway, whatever. Right. Let's pick it up with Johnny 8 Dijonneau. Johnny 8 Dijonneau. He wanted to know about programming drums in Luna,
Okay.
which I covered a little bit in the vlog this week. And actually, Johnny commented on that vlog and said, "Thank you, that answers the question perfectly."
Oh, great.
So if you're on tonight, Johnny, nice to hear from you.
Yeah, cheers, Johnny.
I'm glad that helped.
Do you know, is there much difference between programming drums in Luna and programming drums in Logic?
Not really.
It's the MIDI keyboard thing, right?
Yeah, so, well, yeah, because obviously also in Logic you've got Logic Drummer,
Yes.
which is the more
That's the one I use.
loop sort of approach where you load in the drummer and the style and then you can change it
Right.
from different feels, and it's really versatile actually.
Yeah.
But the old school way is to call up some sort of sample player. In Luna they call it the shape extension, which can be a piano, Moog synthesizer,
Right.
drums, percussion, all the things that MIDI can trigger. And you get a piano keyboard, a piano roll, and you just input the hits as you would notes on a
Very cool.
MIDI thing.
Do you use a
works for me.
keyboard or do you just use the pen?
I either double click the mouse or drag them
Okay.
on. I find that easier.
So you're not going.
No.
There's an amazing YouTube video of a guy demonstrating the drums on a keyboard.
Yeah.
He's incredible. This is the drums, and he does this really amazing. Anyway,
It must have been a Roland demo.
no, I don't think so. It was like this all-in-one sort of Casio copy.
Yeah.
It's great.
Yeah, a lot of people do that on the keyboard and actually try and play the drums in. I find it much easier just to go, well, there's 1 and 3 and there's 2 and 4 on the thing, and I'll just drag my notes there. And then that's much quicker than me playing it in. Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah. Eagle Ray Rob. Hello, Ray or Rob. He says, I'm interested in your experience with the sonic quality of the Effectro Delta Trem. I'm trying to find the best depth as well as width sounding stereo tremolo available. Mick, your closing song in last week's vid was epic. Thank you, Ray Rob.
Sorry.
He's talking about the week before. But
Yeah, I'm talking about this week. That was wonderful.
Thanks, mate.
It's my favourite one you've done.
No way.
Yeah, I loved it.
It was
I think
a real labour of...
It was just so... It was so heartfelt. I found it really touching, actually, just to see the process and just to see the... It's like, yeah, it's really hard to do this stuff, but seeing the bits come together and it's like there's a warmth to it. It was genuine, and I loved it. I
Thank
really
you,
did.
mate.
It's
Thanks.
really, really great.
For anyone who hasn't watched it, I did a vlog on making a song this week and made a song. Yeah, and it's just going through that sort of bunch of emotions we probably all feel when we're trying to do anything creative, and the self-consciousness of it and all the rest of it. And it was a great experiment. I have had an idea that for the next one,
Right.
I'm going to do no plugins and no programming. I'm going to make a track using no plugins and no programming.
You getting a drummer?
I'm going to do the drumming.
Yes, you are.
Yeah.
Wow.
I'm going to do the drumming. I've been listening to a lot of records lately, and a lot of the records that I really loved, the drums are just nowhere near as full-on rock drums as I always imagined they are.
Right.
Like there's some songs that I've revisited. I've realised there aren't actually any drums in them.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. It might be a bit of percussion here and there.
Okay.
So anyway, blah, blah, blah. When I say programming, there will be some mix programming, i.e. level mixing.
Yes, of course.
But no drum programming and no plugins. So all the sounds at source.
So no compression
EQ,
plugins or anything?
no compression, no EQ, no
Wow.
nothing.
Wow.
Anything that happens has got to happen either using post
Real post
stuff.
Yeah.
or the sound is the sound that is recorded.
Yeah.
It's not manipulated.
So the vlog that I did the week before on double tracking, those guitars had no. What did I have on there? Like almost nothing, because by the time I'd had a preamp on the I just couldn't load any more sounds on it.
Yeah.
I was sort of maxed out.
Yeah.
Something a really juicy
Yeah.
thing on there. I can't quite. No, I had so many tracks. That's right. I had so many tracks, and just putting a 1073 Neve preamp on it maxed out my capacity. So all the sounds of that, there's no room reverb, there's no other compression on there. That's all what you had.
Yeah.
It's great.
It's interesting because I ended up EQing the acoustic guitars a bit and just much preferred them not EQ'd.
Yeah, right.
And the electric guitars, there's no EQ on there at all. And I just thought, actually, if you get the sound right at source,
You
don't get
need
me
to.
wrong, really decent mix engineer, great producer is going to make that thing 10 times better than me or him could make it sound. But for us, not very experienced in these things, I'm going to see if I can do it all at source. Anyway, blah, blah, blah. Ray, the Effectro Delta Trem, stereo trems in general, I think, to be honest, the only one I've ever heard is the old Dunlop one, the purple one. Do you know any of them, Dan?
Yes. So that when I did Ed's first board, he had one on there. Actually, I had them on a couple of boards, I think. They're really great.
Which one?
The
The
Delta
Effectrode.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
I mean, everything that Phil makes is good. So I think you could feel fairly confident.
Oh, sorry. No, I wasn't thinking the Effectro one. I was thinking of the
Origin,
Ecosystem.
Empress.
Empress. What was it? Yeah, anyway.
They do a stereo tremolo, do they?
Yeah. Anyway, yes, I have played the Effectro Delta Trem, and I've played their the chorus and the vibe. It's a different. The valve thing is so interesting because I read a lot of Phil's technical stuff, and the valve thing is so interesting. He is a master of that stuff. I guarantee you, if you're really into trem and that sort of warm valve thing ticks those boxes for you, you will not be disappointed. Incredible. The drawbacks are the big, difficult to power, and it's like carrying around another head with you. As far as you can't really just set it on your pedal board and forget about it. You've got to take real care of it.
Yeah.
But sonically, unbelievable.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever played it, but as we say, Phil's stuff is exemplary. So Effectro, that is, go for it.
His vibe is one of the best sounding effects I've ever heard. I've got to get one. Now I've said that, I've got to get one. Phil, can you order me a vibe?
Chris R says, "Hi guys, have you ever tried or heard the Seth Lover series humbuckers? I need something for my 335 style guitar, and I play jazzy bluesy stuff."
Is he talking about the wide range humbuckers?
I think he's talking about the Seymour Duncan Seth Lover humbucker.
Oh, okay.
I
right.
think, but in any case, let's do them both. Seymour Duncan Seth Lover is pretty much their most authentic PAF style. So I think it has minimal potting. I think it has asymmetrically wound coils. It's a Seymour Duncan humbucker. And for anyone who doesn't know, Seth Lover is the guy who did the first ever Gibson PAF humbucker. But and they're great. What you can expect from a more vintage style PAF is a bit more air, a bit of a lighter sound, a bit more expressive ability across the tone range, and not quite so heavy and rocky in the mids. They won't push so hard in the mids.
They got more of a dynamic range. They don't limit the same ways as the higher output ones do.
Yeah.
So Seth Lover also designed the wide range humbucker for Fender, and it was so interesting. So I was looking because they've reissued that with the proper Q-knife magnets in them, and was going on and looking at some reviews and stuff for them, and as lots of pickups are, mixed bag, you know, because some people don't really know what they're getting. You know, I thought I could do metal.
Yeah.
So, you know, anyway, I stumbled across a pickup guy, company called The Creamery, who make these incredible replicas.
Yeah. UK company.
Yeah. And his whole thing, the wide range humbuckers, you might recognise them as some of the old thin line tellies and stuff. You'll see a set of holes with pole pieces on one side, and then the opposite side, another set of holes with pole pieces. And I had them in a really old telly years ago in Australia, and I loved them. And then I played some reissues that just didn't do it for me. Anyway, I got all excited that Fender had reissued these, but then I found the Creamery place, and I bought and ordered a set that are going to Carl Longbottom, and he's putting them in that telly, that T-style guitar.
Nice.
With the tremolo. So yeah, there we go.
Nice. Yeah, so we definitely recommend the Seth Lovers. As always, as Dan just said, you know, pickups is a real. It's like wine, isn't it?
Yeah, totally.
It's just the differences are small but significant. And some people really love Pinot Noir, and some people really love Cabernet Sauvignon, and not all the Pinot Noir is the same by a long stretch. And
like
it's
a
all
box
wine.
Of fine wine.
Yeah, it's all wine. Yes, somebody has asked if they're going to be able to watch this later because the last 2 weeks were promptly deleted. They were deleted because the stream messed up because we didn't have internet, unfortunately. So this one won't be deleted. It will stay up with any luck. Look at that, Dan. On air, stream is healthy.
Amazing.
Okay.
Where can you... Oh, that's how you can tell?
Yeah.
Oh, brilliant.
Yeah. So that's all good. Someone here was saying, Jeff Lecter is saying, the Seth Lovers are pretty perfect for a semi-hollow. They do everything really well. Yeah. So Jeff likes them. Somebody else said they really liked them too, which I'm trying to find, which I can't find.
Cosmic J says, I've got Creamery pickup in my Precision. Nice. Yeah.
Yeah.
Had a really good chat to him, and he's, he knows his stuff.
Actually, it's James Nichols. James Nichols says his D'Angelico has Seth Lover PAFs, and they are killer.
Wow, cool.
Super versatile, great tones. Yeah, so go for it. If that's what your heart's saying, go for it. It's nice to talk about Seymour Duncan, isn't it? Because we talk about pickups all the time, and it's all, you know, Ron Ellis this and Lola that and this and that, and you forget the one of the original is probably still the biggest, I would imagine.
Yeah.
Make good pickups.
Yeah, exceptional pickups.
Doc Banjo says, afternoon guys, Dan, I'm a big fan of Tin Spirits. I was wondering
bless you.
If you might be able to reflect a bit on songwriting with them. Also, any recommendations for a Fripp-ish fuzz? Okay,
yes. So, I'm actually just done a bit on Tin Spirits on my blog for this week, talking about that whole thing, and it's made me a bit emotional, actually, going through that again. For anyone that doesn't know, I was in a band for 10 years called Tin Spirits. Now, when I was in Sydney, I really got into XTC and Crowded House. But the XTC songs and Dave Gregory's guitar playing in particular just floored me. So when I got over here, and my wife was actually in a band with the original keyboard player, Barry Andrews from XTC. And that's how we met. We were talking about it, and I eventually wore her down, and she, agreed to marry me and stuff. So anyway, I met Dave, and we became really good friends. I met him at a Matt Schofield gig, and we became good mates, and ended up, he came along for a jam with my band one day, and that was the start of Tin Spirits. So I'd always written. I'd never had any success at all with my songwriting, but I'd always written. I'd always found it fun. If you can imagine, so when we first got Tin Spirits together, it was a prog cover band. We would be playing Genesis and Yes,
Tom Sawyer
and Rush and all. It was it was like, let's play that. Oh, seriously, we'd walk on stage and it was like, don't look at the set list. Just don't look at the set list. Don't, just one at a time, and then stop looking at it because it was so intimidating. And yeah, so we'd play all these songs and it was so much fun. It was ridiculous. But then I thought, how cool would it be to record an album with Dave Gregory? How do you take a song, say, Dave, I've written a song, after he'd been working for 20 years with Andy Partridge?
Yeah. That's a big one.
Who got in contact with me last week.
Did he?
Yeah.
Ah,
yeah.
cool.
And he's still really keen to come on the show.
Nice.
Yeah, it's going to happen. Anyway. Yeah,
somebody just bought something from that pedal show store. My phone goes bing with a till sound every time somebody buys something, so that's good.
Brilliant.
Makes me feel good.
Yeah. Make us feel good, people. Anyway, so I remember the boys and I were doing a gig in Newquay, and I'd written something. And I had a melody, and we're doing some harmonies and stuff. One thing about the three-piece, Mark, Doug, and I all sang, and there were loads of three-piece harmonies, and I loved that. I thought, how cool would it be to have a project where we, there are loads of harmonies and guitars, and it'd be awesome. So, demos something up and says, Dave, I've, written something.
Hello, Dave.
And he was so genuinely encouraging.
Yeah.
And I mean, I couldn't believe it. He said, come over, Dan, we'll sit down and we'll have a listen. And I went over to his house, must have been there for 6 hours. We had arranged all the guitars. This is a song called And Go. It's the first song on the first Tin Spirits album. And it's epic. It's just 5 different things it goes through. It's crazy. Anyway, at the end of that night, we had arranged all these harmony guitars and all these parts of stuff. And I remember that being, it's a part of my musical life that I'll never forget. The feeling of walking out of his house going, did that really just happen? So, yeah, he was wonderful. What Dave is really great at, as being an arranger, he will take ideas. We can walk into rehearsal with a really simple idea, and he just take that idea and
boom, yeah,
unreal. As long as there was a spark there, yeah. So it was a really great privilege writing with that. Now, of course, I guess Mark and myself would bring most of the ideas, but we'd always work everything up together as a band. And the songs were complicated, which is why it took so long for us to do an album. But man, I just have never. It's just so much fun playing that stuff with Dave, and getting a chance to do it live on the rare occasion. Unreal.
Awesome.
Unreal. You came to a gig once.
I did, yeah.
Yeah,
I enjoyed it very much.
Yeah, we were supporting James Barclay.
I don't remember who you were supporting.
James Barclay Harvest.
I think I went home after you guys.
Right. Okay. Yeah, but anyway, fun.
Very cool. And recommendations for a Fripp-ish fuzz. What
Yes.
fuzz did Robert Fripp use?
So, there's a. It's not the percolator. It is called the. It's a wedge-shaped thing. 3 knobs. Come on, brain.
What, like a tone bender type?
No, sort of. It is called. It'll come to me in a minute, but it's the closest I've ever heard to that Frippatronics fuzzy thing.
What characterises the sound? Arc Effects Crimson King?
No.
Magnetic Effects?
No, it's man alive.
There's Paul Custom and a rat. This is a quick board.
No. I promise you I remember it, and I'll blurt it out at some point. If you carry on with the next question, just let me sit here and torture myself a bit.
Somebody must be saying...
They're shouting at the screen.
Yeah, they are. Somebody said, I think I've lost it, which made me laugh.
Hang on, because I know who makes the one that I use, which is made from Pig Dog Effects. Hey, thank you. I'll tell you exactly what it is. Here we go. Pig Dog Effects. And it is the... Drum roll, please. Come on.
Persecutor.
No. Percolator.
Utility percolator, the harmonic percolator, coffee percolator. Somebody was saying, I can't, oh man, we just get so many comments that it just gets lost. That Fripp's dead to them since he started doing those ridiculous videos with his wife. If you haven't seen Sunday Lunch with Toya on Toya's channel, for those of you who don't know, Robert Fripp is married to someone called Toya Wilcox. Toya was a 80s pop star in well, I guess all over the world, but especially in Britain. And they do these covers on a Sunday, which are hilarious, get hundreds of thousands of views. I think broadly because Toya normally
is in a state of undress?
Is in a partial state of undress, or at least a revealing state of dress. It's Pedro Presence says Fripp is dead to me.
Fuzzbound.
Fuzzbound.
The Burt Buzz Around.
Oh, the Burt Buzz Around.
Yeah, that's it. That's the one. That's the Frippatronics sound. Nails it.
There you go. But you want a Buzz Around type clone.
Buzz Around, exactly.
I've got a feeling Macari's did one, didn't they?
Yeah.
They did
Pig
one.
Dog do one.
Yeah.
And that's the one that I've got. And it's extraordinary.
And Pedro Present says that the videos with Toya is destroying Fripp's credibility. I am going to argue the absolute contrary.
Yeah.
And say I think they underline everything that Robert is as a musician and an artist. Like, he just doesn't give a crap, and I love that.
Yeah.
Like, does he go on YouTube shows and do interviews? No. Does he have a YouTube channel where he talks very seriously about all the music that King Crimson made? No. Does he go on his wife on YouTube with his wife and do like Sweet Child of Mine with her flipping baps out? And it's just hilarious. It's completely hilarious.
Yeah.
And he's plugged into some god awful pod or something, and it's like, I love it.
Yeah.
I love it. Anyway, Brian Dixie says, thoughts on stacked single coil versus full humbuckers. Very, very different things. So, there's two different things. So a traditional, let's talk about Strats then. If you're talking about a stacked single coil, a stacked single coil is where you put the coils on top of one another, and the point of it being stacked is for noise cancellation. It's not really to make it sound like a humbucker.
Correct.
So that's one option, and the point there is that it's a quiet single coil sound. So that's one thing. And you can also get single coil sized humbuckers. So something like a
Hot Rail.
Hot Rails, yeah, Seymour Duncan Hot Rails, which
is Strats scream.
Or the JB Junior. There are various single coil sized humbuckers which are designed to sound like a humbucker and give you the kind of output and frequency response and gain push and all of that. There are some very important things that happen with the physical size and construction and magnetic field of a side-by-side coil humbucker. Thanks for buying stuff, people. That give it a very particular sound, and you can't really do that once you make the coils smaller.
Yep.
They sound similar, and they certainly sound good. And if you don't want to route your Strat, for example, for a full humbucker, or mess about with your pickguard or anything like that, then it's a great option. So they're not the same, but they can sound really cool.
Yeah.
And there's plenty of guitars that have them. Like Dan's Ed O'Brien Strat, for example, has a JB Junior.
JB Junior in the bridge. Great.
Yeah. Just looks like a very thin humbucker, like a humbucker that's been on a diet. There it is.
Let's see if I can do this.
It can't see my face.
Okay. There we go. Look, Nick, I've got it working.
Amazing.
Look. So
just a little bit overexposed. Tilt it forwards, Dan. There you go. There you go.
Better. Okay. So that's you've got the two cores. They're side by side. The neck pickup is a sustainer.
They can't hear you.
Looks like that.
They can't hear you, mate. I'll just whisper softly and say that the neck pickup is the Fernandez sustainer unit. Yeah. Good. This is a great question. Martin Cable, one of the super chats from a couple of weeks back. Martin, if you're on, hello. If not, hope you get to see this at some point in the future. He says, do you ever get intimidated by gear? Do you worry you're not good enough to use it to its full potential? Or do you see it as a way to unlock your potential? Does this tie in with don't do because we don't have?
There's a lot of tying in at the moment because this is addressing exactly on my vlog this week. Intimidated by gear. No. If I like the sound of something enough, I will immerse myself in it. The problem that I have with a lot of really, but like, you know, things that do a million things is I just don't like the sound of them enough to want to dive into that stuff. So, like, okay, a good example is the microcosm from Hologram. It's really full on and complicated, but I am so in love with the sound of that pedal that I've jumped in with both feet and hands and every appendage, and working out how it does what it does, and if there are things that I would, it's one of those like a granular delay looping thing.
Yeah. One of those things that I've got no idea what it's for.
Yeah,
or what it does.
and generally, I mean, you can just turn it on. You don't have to know anything about it, and it'll just do stuff, and it's wonderful. So in that sense, it does bring creative energy and stuff, and totally worth it. But there are other things that I've heard, and it's like the excitement factor isn't there, because that's what gives me the energy to jump into that stuff. Yeah.
So you don't. I guess one of the great privileges that you and I both have is having been around all kinds of gear for a long time.
Yes.
So that does rather take it out of you. But I don't know if you can remember back to the first time somebody handed you a proper vintage guitar. Whether
man.
you were a bit intimidated by it.
Totally.
And probably still, you know, like the day we go to ATB and he hands you a £200,000.
Yeah. And he says,
Gold top.
and of course you check your belt buckle, but it's like he's looking at your T-shirt, making sure there's no lettering from transfers that are sticking up. You know, and you're going, okay, should I take all my rings off? You know, totally.
So that I think is a really interesting question, particularly when it comes to guitars. So if you spend, you know, however much on a really lovely, pristine guitar, and you get it home, and I've done this, you know, I've visited friends or whatever, or maybe we've been doing a photo shoot at someone's house or something, and, you know, they've spent all this cash on a guitar. You go to take it out of the case and they flinch.
Yes.
And for very pragmatic reasons, people are intimidated by their own gear because they don't want to knock $1,000 off it simply by knocking it against a stand.
Yeah.
I'll tell you a little story, Daniel.
Tell me a story,
It'll
Nick.
bring a tear to your eye. I was in here recording my vlog last week.
With that astonishing instrument.
Turned round to do something. Guitar hits the deck. Big chunk in the neck.
Oh my God.
And do you know what my reaction was?
You loved it.
Awesome.
Yeah. Great.
Because
I'm so glad.
what's this guitar for?
Yeah. Yeah.
What is this guitar for? And that's what it's for. So I'm in a position where people flinch on the show when I'll get my guitar and I put it on the stool.
Yeah.
And people flinch because they're like,
totally.
oh my God, how can you do that to that beautiful guitar? And the fact is, if I didn't feel that way about the guitars, I wouldn't be able to play them.
Yep.
Because I think once you connect with the guitar, then you can't be worried about it so much. And that, incidentally, is why relics are so popular.
Yeah.
Because you pick up a relic Strat, it doesn't matter if you ding it.
Totally. Well, this was when I got this. It was new old stock, so all of this wear is real. But I remember this one specifically at a Tin Spirits rehearsal where I had strap was here. I went to adjust the microphone, thinking I need both hands to adjust the microphone. I'm sure if I let it go for just a minute, it'll be okay. I let it go, fell out of the strap, and it came down and hit the edge of my flight case here.
Yeah.
And I mean, all that was done in one go. Like, bang. And I remember looking at it going, there's, all this wear is nice. It's proper wear. But that's like, it's the ugliest thing in the world. But it's a proper...
It's what it's for.
Here we go.
Yes, he's going to show you the ding, and I'm going to show you mine in a minute as well.
There we go. Look
You
at
just
that.
step back a sec, Dan.
Look at
There you go.
that.
There you go.
That is,
That's
man.
a nice one.
Brutal.
So the one-
Absolutely brutal.
The one on the neck here is particularly painful. It will also show you how unbelievably thin Collins's nitrocellulose finishes are.
There you go.
I'll just put that in the light there. Nice.
Well done.
It's like glass. The finish on these guitars.
I took my 65.
I bloody love this guitar.
I took this up to Johnny Kincaid,
Yeah.
and while checking on my acoustic he's building for me, and he set it up for me.
Yeah. Happy?
Far out. Have you?
We can't, Dan.
I can't.
That would be foolish.
Look at it through the glass, Michael. Yeah, he's. I thought I knew a thing or two about setting up a guitar. No,
And doesn't it make such a difference when it's right?
that's unbelievable.
Back to the question. So no, I don't get intimidated by the kind of gear that might intimidate some people, like really expensive guitars and amps. Even something like that, the only way to deal with it is to, look it in the eye, really. There's a very intimidating amplifier, that, until you metaphorically kick it down the stairs.
Yeah, totally.
But the gear I am intimidated by is modern multifunction stuff that does a million things.
Yeah, I
Because I
remember-
don't know how to use it, and I don't want to know how to use it, really. And I think that's when people are intimidated by gear, is when they don't know how to use it,
Sure.
and or they're worried about the cost.
Yeah. Yeah, totally. And that's, I remember being at a Robin Ford clinic, and everyone was taking up their, it must have been 15 people or something there. It was like one of those private little clinics he did. And I had my Junior with me. I think every other guitar was a PRS.
Right.
Brand new, like unbelievably eye-wateringly expensive PRSs. Amazing guitar, so beautiful. But they had that. Don't look at it. It's still got the old tagger on. That's enough of that one. I remember I was looking for a rhythm section when I first got to England, and this drummer and bass player turned up. They were boyfriend girlfriend. They were really cool, but he was the bass player, and she said, we've just bought him this brand new bass. We've brought it along for you to have a look at. I said, great. I opened it up. This beautiful Fender Precision. It's like, yeah, great, awesome. Can we hear it? Oh no, it's just going to go back in the case. We don't really play it. I'm like, come on, man.
Yeah. Tony Davis says, I just put a big dent in my PRS 35th anniversary SE Black Gold Burst finish. It's never sounded better.
Yes.
Because he says, and this is a fantastic point, Tony, he says, my care and worry meter is now set at I don't care.
There you
and
go.
that enables you to engage with the thing.
Man, that is powerful.
It's so true.
Yeah.
It's so true.
Brilliant.
Yeah. But equally, I totally get it. You just dropped $4,000 on a Tom Anderson.
Totally.
You don't want a big ding in it, do you?
No, totally.
Well, you don't want that ding in it. What you want is all the dings in it after 15 years of gigging.
Yeah.
Then you want those dings, maybe.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know. Let's go back to the old supers that we missed.
Angry Donkey says, good beard grooming, Dad. Thank you very much. Thank you. I've managed to split the TPS audience down the middle with my beard. No, thank you.
It's always interesting how free people are with their comments. It's like, it might be that Dan's beard going grey is a deeply personal matter to him and he feels slightly self-conscious about it. TPS comments, not so much. Oh my God, it's Santa Claus.
dude, you're so old.
Yeah. I get, dude, your beard is not the same color as your hair. Shave it off. Not a cool look.
No, I really like it actually.
What's the matter with you?
I've got my my barber's appointment on the 13th, like the day after we're allowed to go to the barber's, and yeah, I think I'm going to try and keep it. I might actually go.
What you need is less on the sides.
Yeah, that's yeah. I've trimmed a bit off this morning because we did home cuts this morning.
Yeah.
But I think I'm gonna.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you. I think I'm gonna go.
Yeah. Leland Sklar.
I think so.
Yeah.
I think so. Oh man, he's so great.
Gilly Bibbins. Danny Givens.
Awesome.
Dusty Hart. That's like the prog version. John Newquist. Hello, John. He says, hello from Petaluma. Hello from Petaluma. Petaluma, of course, the home of Mesa Boogie.
Oh, right.
I just tried to say it correctly. He says, I finally want a compressor.
Nice.
Which type will get me the sound of George Harrison's intro to End of the Line by the Travelling Wilburys? I've tried a CE2, no joy. Neither with an MXR script. Okay, so a CE2 or an MXR script doesn't work.
C2 is a chorus.
I think he may well mean the C... This one. Got one here somewhere. CS2 is probably
CS2.
Yeah.
Okay, right.
Yes. CS2 or CS3.
I like the CS3. I think they're really good. Okay. I'll tell you what. The Keeley compressor is awesome. But this is the Keeley Compressor Pro.
Does everything.
And I flippin' love this thing. Let me now. How do you
Come back a bit. Come back a bit.
All right.
Need to pick the light up. Pick the light up. There you go.
Okay.
Turn it towards that light over there. There you go. Back a bit.
Okay.
Back a bit. Back a bit.
There we go.
A bit dark, mate.
I'm trying. How's that?
Uh,
There you go. Thank.
watch this. This is autofocus, people.
Wow. Okay. Why do I really like this one? For me, I don't necessarily like compressors mixed with dry signal. It can be good, but when I want a compressed sound, I want that front of the note compressed. If that's the sound I'm going for, I'm not just looking for sustain. And this has got all your threshold ratio, attack, release, gain, like, you know, your proper studio compression controls.
Yeah.
You know, soft knee, hard knee. Yeah, I think that's a really fabulous sounding compressor. Other ones to look at, of course, are the Origin effects. You know, they're wonderful. Who makes that? Union make that amazing LA2A.
Like the LA2A one. Yeah,
Yeah.
it depends what the... I'm struggling to bring the track to mind, if I'm honest. It is End of the Line by the Travelling Wilburys.
Around the car I drive, end of the line. Happy to be here, happy to be alive.
Literally.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Is this all right? Round and around on the field.
Oh, there's going to be an ad. This is no good. Yes, let's have a listen to it and let's see.
Okay.
Yeah, so what we're knocking on the door of there is you've got the things you say you don't really like, the CS2 or 3 and the MXR Dynacomp are very much front-end squishy compressors. And what Dan and I are getting into now are things like the 1176 and the LA2A, which are much more studio-y
Yeah.
type compressors, which are sort of tend to be post compressors.
Yeah. So
Um,
an
if
interesting
there's-
thing about the Dynacomp and like the Ross compressor and things that actually the Ross came after the Dynacomp. Dynacomp inspired a lot of those designs. Things we call toothpaste compressors, which will squeeze the bottom and the top, bring the quiet ones up and the top ones down and squeeze it all in together. There's the studio ones. If you they've got more of the limiting properties. It doesn't just squeeze everything all together at once. It just looks for those notes that are coming in. Set your release time and all that sort of stuff. But the toothpaste ones, they squeeze the low notes and the high notes and just bring everything like that. Yeah, that one.
So he's playing that there on a Gretsch as if it's not capoed, but it really sounds capoed to me. Or high strung or Nashville tuned or something.
Okay.
Yeah.
Was he talking about the slide part?
No, he's talking about that.
That bit?
Yeah.
Okay.
There's chorus on there too.
Yeah.
So
There's a bunch of tracks on there.
Dynasonics, capoed. Sounds like a dual. I don't know. Is it double tracked? Sounds like it might be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Totally.
Yeah.
Yeah. All of them together.
Yeah. That's an interesting guitar sound. Yes, I can see why you would think the Dynacomp and the CS3 are too overt.
Yeah.
Yeah. Look into an 1176 style compressor, the Origin.
Origin, you can't go wrong with the Origin. They're great.
Yes. Or as Dan says, the Keeley Compressor Pro, which is exceptional and does lots of different
Sounds
things.
so good.
Josh Grit says, I have Clons, a Fumble Type 2 Rock, silver signature, every guitar type and custom you can imagine, but I've stopped playing completely. I can't bring myself to care anymore. Do you ever deal with this?
Not really.
I've definitely wanted to. I've definitely had moments of existential crisis of, like after Ed O'Brien, for example. And usually, being honest, it's because you're shooting for something that isn't you. So, I went through a whole long periods of my life wanting to be John Mayer or wanting to be Stevie Ray Vaughan or, wishing I was as good a songwriter as all the people that I love, whether it's Jason Isbell or Sarah Jarosz or the aforementioned John Mayer or all those, any musician that you really love, or the Beatles. And what you do is you end up spending your whole time worrying about what you want to be and all the things you can't really do. And that makes you want to give up. And then you meet someone like Ed O'Brien who says, do you know what? Forget all that. Just do what you do, nothing else. And you have this moment of existential crisis where you say, wow, I've literally wasted the last 25 years of my life on trying to do all these things that I've been chasing. And then it takes a minute just to work out that you haven't wasted it at all. It's all been really useful learning and experience and stuff, and actually that's what gives you the foundation to be able to do the thing you want to do next. So without being too abrupt about it, Josh, I think what you're probably feeling is a bit of a feeling of failure and a feeling of that you're not quite good enough, probably, but you are.
Totally
you're the best version of yourself that the world has ever seen, and that's what you've got to be.
Yeah.
I went through it with this a little bit. My dream amp, best amp ever in the world. And about a year into owning it, I was like, oh, I'm just trying to be Matt Schofield and John Mayer here.
Right. Interesting.
And then I thought, no, I'm going to put all that down and just use it how I want to use it. And yeah, so I get it. I totally get where you're coming from. And I don't think it's unusual because it is a very frustrating thing to play the guitar. Dan, I think, is going to reflect on it in his vlog. We've asked the question many times, if we were 14 or 15 now, would we pick up the guitar? I'm not sure I would. I'd go onto YouTube. I'd see old Geordie Mateus. For anyone who doesn't know, Mateus Asato is actually a Geordie.
He's taking a break from YouTube and everything now.
Is he?
Yeah.
Oh, how man! Gonna take a break from the YouTube. Gonna play me pretty chords on my own with me little hands. That's if you talk to him on the phone. That's what he sounds like. But if you watch people, thanks. If you watch people like Matteo Sasato or I don't know any just ridiculously talented guitar player, Tom Bukovac still does it to me. I can't watch Tom every day.
No.
Because I just want to stop playing. Because
Yeah.
I know that even if I do another 10,000 hours, I'm never going to be able to play like Tom Bukovac.
No.
Not as long as I have a hole in my ears.
Yeah. Dude, I mean, I say it in the vlog. You know, I've been sat next to you for 5 years. That's you know.
Well, right back at you.
It's. So one of the things is I think as part of our human nature is we compare ourselves to other people, and it's not the way.
No.
It really isn't.
There's something good. There's something necessary about comparing yourself to other people. So when you're
It's
a baby,
what has driven the human race forward.
yeah, it is. It's what you know. You can't walk right when you're however old you are before you can walk, and so you see people walking and you're like, wow, biped. I need to get off these, and that's what you know.
Yeah.
That drive to be superior to your current situation is what human kind of evolution and development is all about. It's what turns babies into adults, right? But then if you then see that desire to be superior as some sort of competition, or you worry about being the best guitar player in the world, then
Now you're just taking words right out of my vlog.
it's not healthy. Sorry, mate.
I'm just joking. It's no, but but it's exactly right. It's this this sense of I'm not good enough. I'm not worthy. The fact that if you can play guitar, that is its own reward, and you know, being able to create music and stuff, it can bring so much joy, and you know, if that's where you're at, and no matter what level or what capacity you're doing that, if you're able to play and enjoy it and love it, you win.
Yeah.
You know, that's it. Game over. You've won.
But for the time being, Josh, it's a cycle, and you will go through it, and the cycle can last longer. I mean, I've definitely been through periods where it's lasted months. Certainly, even filming this show, you know, where I said to Dan, I haven't, you know, we filmed 2 weeks apart. I haven't touched the guitar in 2 weeks because I just don't want to play the guitar. And then something will happen. You'll plug in, or you'll. What pretty much always does it, I think, for both of us is. If you're playing with a mate, or you know, if we're playing together, or with the band, or anything like that, when other humans are involved, it really gives it meaning.
Totally.
So
I think that's one of the reasons I've missed it so much.
Yeah.
Doing our shows and just making noises and like, whoa, because I continuously learn and pick up stuff just from being in this environment.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
So chin up, Josh.
Yeah.
It is a stage. Don't, as with everything in life, don't make any rash decisions. Don't make the decision when you're in a negative headspace.
Yeah.
That is much easier said than done.
Yeah.
But it's good advice.
The other thing is as well, if you're in that space, don't be afraid to put the guitar down for a bit.
Ed said that.
Yeah. And just walk away and sort of reevaluate your relationship with music in general, and because you'll either come back to it invigorated and passionate, or you go, I'm not really feeling it.
Yeah.
Either way, it's all good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or try something different.
Totally.
That's one of the good reasons. One of the reasons it's nice to have a couple of guitars.
Yeah.
Or more than that. You say you've got plenty. So you know, if your natural place is, I don't know, the Strat and the 2-Rock, then don't do that. Play something with humbuckers into a really low headroom amp.
Nice.
And you'll find you're in a different headspace. Try
Yeah.
drop D tuning. You know, any of that really.
Yeah.
We wish you luck. We wish you well with it.
Yeah,
'cause
mate.
We do get it. Luis Enrique Machado says, "Cheers, DNM. Cheers, Luis." He says, "Today I just wanted to suggest you try the Kingtone 1968, which is Jesse's Vibe,
Oh, cool.
and the Decibelix Golden Horse, which I'm assuming is a Klon type. And thanks for being there." Yeah, I've never tried Jesse's Vibe actually,
No,
but if it's anything like everything else he makes, it will be completely
his ears
spectacular.
are just wonderful.
Yeah. Thanks for all your work, says James Dickinson. You're a massive part of me picking up the guitar again. Please help. I'm looking for a fuzz to pair with a Clover, JHS Mini Clover,
Nice.
Clover, a Mini TS, and an Aquapus, Way Huge Aquapus. Do I go with the Fjord Odin or the Mythos Argo? Okay, well, the Mythos Argo is an octave fuzz.
Mm.
Fjord Odin.
It's an octave fuzz that will sound great with the Clover and the Mini TS and stuff. It's a really good shout. But
Oh, the Odin's an octave as well.
okay. Well, if you're after an octave fuzz, then specifically, which it looks like you are. Oh, that was nice.
It does. One knob. Really cool. Lots on the octaves.
We'll have to have a look. We only really know out of those two the Argo, which is
So this
wonderful.
is a continuation of the Fox Tone Machine.
Oh, okay. So it's that sort of fuzz.
Yeah,
Right.
but more so. And then the Argo is a much cleaner sounding thing.
Yeah.
It's based on the Prescription Electronics Cobb, the Clean Octave Boost. Is that what it's called?
Yeah.
Something like that. Which is the one that Doyle Bramwell uses.
Yeah. So, yeah.
I love the Argo. I absolutely love it.
Mm.
So, yeah, do what your heart says. I know it's a bit of a cop out, but
Yeah, the Argo won't have as much gain in it as the other one.
yeah,
The
I
other
mean
one?
it does have a decent amount of gain, but
Yeah, but the other one gets really super fuzzy.
doesn't
Oh,
really
no.
do the Jimmy thing.
No.
All Things Weatherly says, happy birthday, Mick. It was my birthday when these comments came in. Getting it in early to ask about Pedals the Musical from JHS. Was it the dumpster fire that was expected, or did you enjoy it?
Oh, I loved it. Are you
Did you?
kidding? It's
haven't
wonderful. It was so good.
A synopsis, please.
So it basically goes through the creation of the first fuzz pedal. It goes from the studio in with Glenn Snoddy and that accident where they got that fuzz tone, and then each of the pedals is a character that sings a song, right? And so you've got Josh and Nick are like the inventors and they do those bits. But then you've got this proper cast who are singers and stuff come on dressed as pedals. And it's
Yeah, I've
like
seen clips.
it's like the FZ1, the first fuzz pedal, is like it's all new, a little bit cautious. The fuzz face is really sort of ballsy, and the tone bender it's really funny. The songs are great. The performers did a really great job. Yeah, I thought it was really good, and sort of a historically accurate musical about the timeline and creation of fuzz pedals. It was classic. Wah was in there, and it was great.
When I've got some time, I will watch it. Musical is not really my genre of choice.
It's 20 minutes. It's, in and out.
Yeah,
real
I
quick.
could watch Tom Bookerback for 20 minutes and actually learn something.
No, I thought it was really good.
Yeah.
That,
Let
just
us
that
know
he,
what you think.
that he actually did it.
Yeah, I know. He's
I just
love
think
his
that's
ambition.
amazing.
Yeah.
Totally.
yeah, great.
Yeah, I enjoyed it.
I suppose it's less. Yeah, sorry, I don't mean to sound negative about it. I'll watch it. I'll watch it. Yeah.
Rhett Shaw was playing guitar,
Awesome.
sort of in the band and doing all the fuzz bits for those pedals. Wonderful. I texted him after it and said, "Man, you did such a great job. It was really, really good."
So from musicals about pedals to something very technical, Dan. Angry Donkey wants to know. Dan,
Yes.
he wants to know for his buffer, should he have a 2.2 mega ohm or a 1 mega ohm input impedance?
Ah.
And should you have a 10k or 100 ohm output?
Okay. So you'd say 10k or 100k?
Well, he says 10k or 100 ohm.
Yeah. Okay. So the input impedance one is really interesting. I like personally the higher resistance. Anything, I would say 1 meg should be your minimum. It depends. Okay.
Can I ask a really stupid question?
Are we doing Stonehenge? Yeah, go on.
Yeah. No, we're not doing Stonehenge. Is a 1 mega ohm input resistance lower than 2 mega ohms?
No. 1 meg is less resistance than 2 meg, but that 1 meg is to ground. So you've got that 1 meg ohm that ties the input to ground, or you've got 2.2 meg, and therefore you've got you've got more resistance to ground, therefore less bleed through to ground.
So it wasn't such a stupid question.
No, not at all.
That's the bit that I find confusing.
Right.
So to move on from there then, what gives you a more trebly sound?
The more resistance. So 2.2.
The bigger number.
Yeah, the bigger number.
Because it's bleeding less to ground.
It is. However, you can't... It's not just about that value. Taylor.
Is that why lower input impedances are more reactive off the volume control?
It's...
Because I've read in pedal specs before, a lower input impedance so it cleans up better when you turn the volume down.
Yeah, that's definitely a part of it. It depends on what that's going into, the transistors, the op amps, or whatever. But yes, it's definitely a part of it. You're getting, I guess, closer to like the DC resistance and that of the coils and the magnets and that sort of stuff. It interacts directly with that input impedance, but then there's so much. It's not just that input resistor. You've got all your L's and R's and C's and that sort of stuff around that that will dictate that as well. A really good example is you can take a Boss GE7, right, which has a standard Boss input impedance of 1 meg. But you can turn that into a really great acoustic guitar preamp by taking out that 1 meg resistor and changing it for like a 20 meg resistor. And if you've got something like passive, like piezo pickup or the undersaddle bugs, then all of a sudden they sort of come alive with that really crazy high input impedance. So it all depends on what you're plugging into it. But yeah, I mean, try both. Put a pot on there and find your happy place. There is a school of thought that says the lowest output impedance is the way to go on the buffer. I certainly wouldn't have an output impedance more than 1K. But the most important thing for me, if you've got an output buffer that has got an output impedance of 1K, it'll drive cable, no problem. You can look up some that mathematically says no, it should be 500 ohms or 100 ohms or whatever. And theoretically, yes, that'll drive more capacitance. However, the biggest thing for me is with output impedance of buffers is consistency. So if you've got one buffer in your chain that's got an output impedance of 1K, you've got one that's got an output impedance of 200 ohms, and you're switching those in and out, you are changing that relationship with the capacitance in the cables after that. If you put a buffer at the end of all that with a 1 mega ohm input impedance and a 1K output impedance, as long as you've got that consistent, and you can stick anything you like into that.
Right.
But as long as you've got that consistent into the amplifier, then you'll be absolutely fine.
Interesting. I wonder if that's why so many people like the Belly Puck Deluxe on the end of their
Yeah.
chain.
Yeah, totally.
Because it just gives that consistent.
Absolutely. So
Yeah.
that's when it comes to buffers and stuff, you can get into whole semantics about exactly what it should be. But it's, for me, I get the best results when it's consistent, and then I can dial in the amp. 1K, great. Don't go above 1K, but I've got great results with 1K output impedance, and as long as everything else is going. Because the other thing with that is, the average output impedance of a pedal is about 1K, right? If you put a 330 ohm output impedance from a buffer after that, it is going to change the way those things sound.
Yeah.
Because of the way you're used to hearing it interact with that cable. So, and that's fine if you like that. But as long as you've got that consistent, it can be, from 100 ohms to 1K in that region, fine.
There you go.
There you go. Hope that was helpful.
Guitars and Gizmos says on the Fuzz question, get the Scott McKeon Fuzz octave from Scott McKeon, SM Fuzz. You guys should really bring him onto the show. Well, it's interesting you say that.
It is indeed interesting.
For two reasons. One is we've got the SM Fuzz out there. Two, I socially distanced met Scott the other day in a car park. And we had a chat, and he gave me one of the pedals, but he also gave us this.
Nice catching of the light there, Mick.
See what I'm doing there, Dan?
I do.
Too dark? Fine. Scott's got a new record out, which is really exceptional, produced by Paul Stacey. Jeremy Stacey plays drums on it. Rocco Palladino plays bass on it, so it's like pretty serious, among others. And it's a really, really great record. If you like that kind of music that I like, post Jimmy, great Strat playing and general bluesy, awesome, little bit psychedelic in places, octave fuzzes. It's a really great record. You can't buy it anywhere yet because it's not out. It's coming out on April the 12th, but you will be able to buy it from that Pedal Show store.
Yay!
Yay!
Awesome.
Said to Scott, if we can help in any way, and help spread the word, we will gladly do it. So
I want to get him.
He's a super
Paul.
dude.
I want to get him and Paul on.
Yeah. And
go through it because for me, like that opening track, it sort of blew my mind. There's something. I don't know. It just sort of stands apart from a lot of that stuff that I've heard.
It's just, it sounds phenomenal, and the playing is phenomenal, and there's a lot of heart in it. So keep your eyes on that Pedal Show store. We'll have a few copies of Scott's record to sell.
As soon as we're allowed, we'll get him in
addition to the other places. And he is going to come on the show.
Awesome.
And the great news about that is one of the things we have been doing while we've been apart is upgrading the TPS studio a bit. So it is our great hope that we're putting in a control room out there with a desk and some stuff in it, so that we can start doing more bandy type stuff. I know from that camera it doesn't look big enough in here to do this, but if you look at the Greg Koch show, the Ariel Posen show, the Matt Schofield show, the Dishan Abraham show from years ago,
we can get him in.
We can get a 4-piece band in here without too much trouble. We're going to move a few things around just to try and shift TPS's focus a step or two in the actual music direction, which Dan and I have both been enjoying greatly.
Yeah.
And the great hope of that is it will become a regular live thing, and then we've got ambition to make it even more than that. So
indeed. It's going to be good. Watch the space.
All of which is to say that Scott will be a guest in that format. So.
Yep.
And thanks for the reminder, Guitars and Gizmos. Okay. Patrick Glantz. Hi, Patrick. He says, hey, guys, I got my hands on the Analog Man Bad Bob after your recommendation.
Nice.
To boost a Nobles ODR1. It's exactly what I was looking for. Thanks again, and cheers from Rochester, New York.
So good.
It's a brilliant booster, is the Bad Bob.
So good.
Bruce, greetings. I'm going to retube my Marshall DSL-100, and I'm contemplating using KC77s over EL34s. Which do you prefer and why? I usually run at higher gain since I play hard rock and 80s metal.
Yes, you do. Well, it depends on how you're getting that. I'd say EL84s. The
34s.
Sorry. Well, I'd say 84s, but yes, in those amps, 34s definitely. Yeah, they'll limit a bit more. You get more of that edge. The 77s, the 88s, you're going to have more headroom, and you might need more paraphernalia up front. But the classic sound of those EL34s for that sort of,
I didn't know what a KT77 was, so I've just looked it up. I knew what a KT88 was. So yeah, a KT77, as Dan was hinting there, has more power, fatter bass, and more headroom than an EL34.
Yeah.
So it depends, if you've got a 50 watt DSL, yours is 100, I know, but if you had I want to try some in Arplexi.
Oh yeah, awesome.
For a bit more headroom. That's interesting. Yeah. I also think that in that case, when you're talking about should I try these tubes or those tubes do make a big difference.
Mm.
And they do make a difference. But there is an optimum volume level at which you will hear that difference most. And it's not as different as, I don't know, probably not as different as changing a preamp tube, for example.
Sure.
Or indeed using a different pedal or a booster.
Yeah, because you've got to be at level.
You got to be cranking it for that.
Yep.
Like, would you hear it with an attenuator, for example? Great question.
Yeah, there you go.
Maybe not, because the attenuator is really changing the sound of the amp anyway.
Yeah.
No matter what attenuator you have. So, yeah, interesting. Bruce. Nope, we just had Bruce. Nate Kearsley. Nate, thank you for your generosity. And also Mark Anthony Chester. Thanks, Mark.
Jeff Bannister says, Dan, why did you move to the UK? I met my girlfriend who would become my wife in Manly, and she said, I'm going back to England, and I snuck in her suitcase and came home, and when she done dinner, I was like, surprise!
It's either job, relationship, or crime, isn't it, usually?
Mixture of all three.
Yeah.
There we go.
When your convictions lapse, you can travel again. You're like, I've just got to get away from here.
Yes. Right. To be with my lady love.
Zachary Manzanetti says, cheers and thank you for the content and community. Yes, I think we should all thank the TPS community. What a fabulous bunch of humans you are.
Unreal. So grateful for all of you.
Really feeling the love these past few weeks, and we're grateful to be among it. So thank you.
Makes a real difference, people.
Yes.
We're so grateful.
Yeah. And that's not just because you say nice things to us. It's just a nice bunch of people who are generally, seemingly wanting to look out for one another and be helpful. And I think at this time in history, we need that. Yeah.
There's a Facebook fans group that appeared, and someone mentioned that yesterday. They came on, they were new to TPS, and they asked a question. And he says, wow, everyone here is so nice and so supportive. And it's like, so good.
It's
so
great.
Good.
We're lucky because not all internet places are quite so nice.
Indeed.
He says also, and thanks to everyone behind the scenes. Found you about a year ago, and now my sound is so much better.
Awesome. Wow. Brilliant.
Awesome. Well, talking about behind the scenes, the principal behind the scenes is Catherine. She makes everything work. We wouldn't be here without her, for sure.
Indeed.
She runs the store and makes sure that all works, which is how we fund everything. Simon does filming and editing. We haven't seen Simon since November, and we are seeing him on Thursday.
Hoorah!
And we're going to start filming again. Hooray!
Cannot wait.
And Fraser, who will be with us less frequently than he was before. Fraser's doing some other things. And we have less need for the consistent audio help than we had before. So Fraser will be in, hopefully, to help us with the live stuff especially, because we need him for that.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you. Greetings from Lower Saxony in Germany, says Jürgen Burker. Thank you, Jürgen. Weight of Gold says, greetings from RI, USA. RI. Rhode Island.
Rhode Island?
Yep.
I was going to say Louisiana.
Yep. New York. Rhode Island. Is that where...
It's just an island of roads. Everywhere you go, roads.
The film Me, Myself and Irene. Jim Carrey.
Right.
You're making yourself laugh, mate.
It's been a long time. It's been a long time.
He's from Rhode Island, I think.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that is a great movie.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
That is such a great movie. Anyway, there was a question. He says, have some rosy treats on us. Thank you.
Bless you.
Due to our COVID protocol, we've managed to keep playing. I've picked up a Hammond XB2. I've got a Leslie, but what about pedal ideas? So because they have no vocals. Mask, vent, no vocals. Yeah, they've kept playing. Wow.
Unreal.
Gold. Picked up a Hammond XB2, which I presume is some sort of organ.
Yeah. So, okay, first things, phaser.
Oh, wow.
What else is really good? Envelope filter pedals.
So what should you use on a yeah.
Yeah, envelope filter pedals, phasers.
Overdrive.
Yeah, overdrive. Absolutely, overdrive.
I've sat next to Don Airy at full chat.
Seriously.
And it is frightening.
Simon McBride
Yeah.
was telling stories about that as
Yeah.
well.
Yeah. Absolutely frightening. There's nothing like a Hammond through a Marshall stack and a massive Leslie. Yeah, so overdrive for the full-on John Lord experience.
Awesome.
Yeah, I guess because you've already got the Leslie, you've got a bit of modulation going on. Delay would be weird, wouldn't it? Phaser, like Dan says. I guess in which case flanger. Wah wah, yeah.
Wah wah, absolutely.
I actually let out a little cheer and threw my arms up in the air when he did the fill. It was Ian Pace on drums.
Seriously?
Yeah, yeah. Babadoo, 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 babadoo.
Wow.
Russell Raymer says, why doesn't Super Chat let me only send amounts with 99? No other questions. Happy birthday, Mick. Love you guys. I don't know, Russell. There's people here that have done $1 and $5 and you seem to have done $24.99, which is immensely generous. Thank you. We don't expect anyone to be that generous, but thank you. It's very much appreciated. Nina Head DJ says, happy birthday, Mick. Here's wishing you both the best. Thanks for another show. Just to clarify, it was my birthday 2 weeks ago, not today. Thank you.
Bell Tunnel has said, is there a way to tip TPS? Or is the best way to contribute to the production fund to buy a shirt or something? We're not doing Super Chat today. We're catching up on some old Super Chats.
Yeah.
But certainly the store is open. That's the little dings that you can hear. And so, yeah, if you want to buy it, I mean, the merch is what basically pays for the show. So by all means, yeah, that's great.
But also don't feel like you have to.
No, absolutely.
Yeah, it's a free show on YouTube and it hopefully will always be thus.
Matt Rogerson says, hey, Dan, love the beard. Looking like an avant-garde composer. Yeah, man, I'll take that.
Jolly Willard, hi Jolly. He says, I usually have 3 delays on, but I took Mick's advice and played with no pedals. I heard my guitars for once. The spank and scrape of my Strat and sustain of the Les Paul stood out. Thanks as always, guys. Yeah, it is interesting just to do it once in a while.
Yeah.
I mean, it depends what your rig's like. For the first time in ages, for the vlog I did 2 weeks ago on how much gear do you need, I actually put my proper pedal board together for a change.
It was really good.
Yeah, with the G3 and I'd forgotten a little bit just how much having all that stuff separated makes a big difference.
Right.
Because for those of you who may not know, if you use a really decent loop switcher, you're basically plugged straight into your amp when nothing's on, and then when you switch something on, it's only that thing that's on. Whereas if you have a regular pedal board and no switcher, everything you're dealing with all the capacitance and buffers and everything in the whole signal chain all the time. And the amount that changes your tone, I don't want to say makes it worse, but the amount that changes your tone is colossal, and that's what Jolly is talking about. And I wouldn't say forgotten, but it was nonetheless a surprise when I plugged in and I'm like, oh, there you are.
Nice. When can we start gigging again?
Well,
is that summer?
Jobo's out, isn't he? Socially distanced gigging. He did a picture from the stage and there's like 2 chairs there and 2 chairs there and 2 chairs there. But yeah, I think the full restrictions is... obviously it's different around the world. What's happening in England is they're making these significant changes every 5 weeks.
Right, that's right.
To give the figures 5 weeks to wash through. So the current plan is June 17, I think.
Okay.
Is when everything is lifted. Don't quote me on that. Please check. But yeah. Assuming all is there. G Barge, immensely generous. G, thank you so much. He's saying no questions, just best wishes, and thanks to you both for education and creativity. My
lovely.
board overfloweth. Greetings from Northern California. Thank you, G. David Burke. Again, no question. Just wanted to support and share the joy of managing to get hold of Emeris Hedra after the sad story of the one that got lost in the post. We're glad you got it, David. Hope you're enjoying it. Here's a shilling for the broadband meter, says Rob Brewer. Thanks, Rob. Actually, the first week we were off the air, it was our broadband here. And then last week it was Dan's, we think, which is really annoying because the upload from here, we're cabled and it's been particularly good.
Man, I've got fibre at my place.
Yeah.
And I went from one provider to a provider with high-speed broadband to a provider that gave me fibre. It's worse.
Is it?
It's worse. And I've been on the phone to them as like, well, you should be getting crazy speeds. And every now and then it does. But other than that, it just, it's so frustrating.
It's hilarious, isn't it? Because the world moves on, and when the internet came out, Dan, a lot of people watching this will be of similar vintage to me and Dan, and maybe plus or minus that a little bit, and you'll be able to remember the internet happening, and it sort of came along, and the only people that were on the internet were weird at the beginning, right?
Yeah.
And then the internet just happened, and then it was everywhere, and then 10 years went by, and so what we're talking mid-90s here.
Yeah.
So by about the mid-2000s, the internet actually sort of semi-worked for most people. Another 10 years, broadband starts happening.
Yeah. Takes a long time.
Mid 2010s, 2015, broadband starts happening. Now, fast broadband is happening for a lot of people, but it's also not happening for a lot of people.
Yeah.
And yet, the whole rest of the world,
thank you,
the banking sector, shopping, the whole rest of the world has gone online. And I just really feel for all these people who live in places where the internet is rubbish.
Yeah.
So
it's absolutely essential.
Yeah, and governments are sort of... It is blinking hilarious when you look at what happens in high government level and how unbelievably out of touch they're. At Zuckerberg's hearing.
Oh, mate, that was hilarious.
I think one of the Supreme Court judges...
So why can't I get my emails or something?
No, I think it was something to do with... The question was, how do you make money?
Right.
It's like, you don't know how Facebook makes money.
But one of them also said, something happened on his tweets or something, and Mark Zuckerberg said, yeah, that's Twitter. I'm Facebook.
Oh. Anyway, sorry, that's my little mix moan. Thanks. About here's the whole world relying on the internet and it still doesn't blooming work. Mark Smith, have a shandy on me, Mick, and buy a pint for Dan. Buy a half for Dan too. Thanks for the vlog. It had me tearing my board down all weekend. Thanks for the awesome show, guys, says Miles K. Mike K. Any hints for gain order with my emerging pedal board into an AC15? TS Mini, Tumnus, Hudson Broadcast.
Yeah. Broadcast, TS Mini, the Clon one. Now, it all depends on how you're running them. Because you might be that you're using the tumness for a lot of gain as opposed to a boost. If you're using that as the main overdrive, and you might be using the TS Mini as the boost, put the boost last. But have the broadcast right up front, and then, then the one that you're using for the gain, and then the one that you're using for the boost.
I agree. Broadcast, TS, Clon.
Yep.
Yeah.
There you go.
Bryson Cook. I was wondering about a way to run a Juliana stereo chorus for wet dry and to be able to switch from stereo to wet dry.
So the stereo, if you're talking about chorus in stereo and chorus in wet dry, it's essentially the same thing. Chorus in stereo, unless you've got a specific chorus that has two engines and you can separate those out, then what you've got...
Which is what the Juliana is, I think, isn't it?
Is it? I'm not sure it is. Unless you've got, something like the Dimension C is a double, or, what do they call it? Delay line chorus. But generally, for a chorus pedal, it's a vibrato mixed in with your direct signal, and that gives you the chorus. And when you go stereo, what will happen is it separates those two signals. So out of one side, you get your direct signal, and out of the other side, you just get vibrato. So if you plug, the easiest way to tell is if you plug just one cable from the stereo output, does that give you vibrato, or does that give you a mixed vibrato and direct sound, i.e. chorus?
Right, the DCV knob sets the ratio of the dry to wet signal through the mono channel of the Juliana.
Right, there you go.
Hang on, traditional mono chorus can be heard with the knob set around noon. Pitch vibrato is found in the full clockwise.
Yep.
So exactly what Dan just said, you're going from...
direct sound all the way to vibrato, and there's your mix control
chorus,
in the middle.
because that's what chorus is. When both outputs are connected, set the DCV knob to full counterclockwise to send your dry signal to the mono output and the vibrato signal to the stereo output.
Right.
So you're getting wet dry.
Yep.
Explore other variations by turning the DCV knob up slightly to add some vibrato signal to the dry output, changing the stereo image.
Yep.
So it will do two different vibratos.
No, this is the same vibrato. It's not two separate vibratos.
I see. It's just the amount of it.
Exactly.
Yeah, okay. So what's the answer then? How does he run it stereo and wet dry?
Well, it's the same. Essentially, it's the same thing. If you
so turn the DCV knob up and down.
Yeah. But when you go, wet dry stereo, in this particular example, you're going to have vibrato on one side and your direct sound on the other.
Until you turn that DCV.
Exactly.
And then
as you turn the DCV, as you turn the direct or vibrato, as you turn it more towards the direct, you're going to add more. To turn it more towards vibrato, you're going to add more of that vibrato on top of the direct sound.
Yeah. So there you go. Actually, that's a really easy answer. You can literally do it with a knob on the pedal. With other stereo pedals like delay, for example, it's a pain in the butthole because you have to essentially unplug the one side.
It is tricky. I'm looking at doing some experiments at the moment. Stereo summing. It's really interesting, actually. Yeah.
David Ashtaloni says, I love watching your show because it's not a paid review. Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm a left-handed guitarist, so it's hard buying guitars off the rack. Interesting, this. I know a few lefties. Southpaw 335, hello to you. It must be unbelievably annoying.
I used to do this as practice, just to practice coordination.
That's like me skiing to practice guitar.
Well, just to get my brain working in a different way. I used to practice writing with my left-handed stuff as well, just because my coordination's never been great. And it was really interesting. I mean, obviously, I suck at it, but because you know where to put your fingers, sit there going, oh, it's really,
Yeah.
really hard.
It's funny, just looking at you, you look like a beginner.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
Totally.
Interesting. It must be dreadfully frustrating for lefties. And I know lefties always argue that they're a much bigger proportion of the guitar market than manufacturers produce for. But if that was true, then manufacturers would produce and sell more left-handed guitars, which they don't. It's a very emotive subject. We have the same thing with girls' T-shirts in the That Pedal Show store. We get loads of emails saying, please make girls' T-shirts. So we made some and nobody bought any. Comparatively, nobody bought any. But from that, you get a bit of natural limitation, bringing the necessity for creativity.
Yeah, right.
And maybe you're sort of forced down the route. I'm going to make a massive generalisation in a minute, Dan. Maybe you're forced down the route of bonding with the guitar that you can find. So let's think of some left-handed guitar players, famous left-handed guitar players.
Eric
Gales, Jimi Hendrix,
yeah,
Thor Bramall,
Paul
McCartney. I'm sure there are more. Of course there are, but
Mike Van Aert,
is he?
very lefty.
Cool, I never knew that.
Yep.
Yeah.
He's amazing. Who else is there? I'm just trying to think. So some restring, don't they, and some don't.
Yeah. Andre Sigurd says lefty here. Yes, it's really frustrating. Dave Late says been playing lefty since 1964. Always a challenge. Matt Rogerson, Mike Venart. Dave Broche says Elliot Easton. Jam Man says Kurt Cobain.
Is Elliot Easton lefty?
Yeah.
Oh,
Brucey Kitchen,
man,
Elliot
he's
Easton.
incredible. I see him pop
Albert
up.
King.
Yeah,
says
right.
Zygel, Zilgeil. Tony Iommi.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. Dick Dale. Now,
Dick Dale. I met Dick Dale.
Here's the generalisation I'm going to make. How individual were each one of those players?
Yeah, totally.
Now, I guess you could say that there's plenty of right-handed players that are individual, but
not. I guess you look at the ratio.
is it? I don't know. Is it? Am I wrong?
No,
wrong?
because it uses
Zaki
that,
Vengeance from Avenged Sevenfold.
uses the different side of your brain, doesn't it?
We did say Hendrix, Ian, I think, and if we didn't, it was a ridiculous omission. But obviously, we were all thinking Hendrix. Yeah, Mark Rebo is left-handed but plays guitar right-handed. Tell you someone else like that. Dave Kilminster.
Wow.
Wasn't he left-handed and had to switch?
Yeah, okay.
Something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Rebel.
Matthias Eklund is a lefty but plays right-handed. Says Smith A. Deg. Steve Miller.
Isn't Ringo? Ringo's a lefty but had to play right-handed. Is that right? Because he always led with the other hand, which is why his fills sound the way they do. It's really interesting.
Yeah. Metal Guru 965 Dor Bramall. Yeah, mentioned him. Yeah, interesting. I can't even remember what the original question was now.
How awesome are lefties?
Yeah, lefties.
Something about the difficulty. I found in Sydney there's this great little guitar shop called Neil's Guitars and Amps in Manly, where I used to live. And I'd be down there most days just hanging out because he had some really cool stuff, and I bought and sold so much gear through him. Anyway, I bought my 64 Strat through him, the one that got stolen.
Oh, nice.
Anyway, I
Wonder how
bought
much he got for it when he nicked it back.
a 66 left-handed 66 Telecaster from him that I played right-handed. It just had this unbelievable neck.
Of all the guitars you're going to play left-handed, you go for a single cut.
And it was weird. I totally, man, because I'm like this going, but it was a beautiful sounding thing. I sold it to a friend in, where was he? Near Coogee, who put it back to normal, restrung it properly and everything. Made an absolute fortune on it. Anyway, I'm not bitter.
Peter Camacho says, I just ordered a custom artwork Harmonious Monk from Jam. Thank you.
Thank you. That'll be it there.
I wasn't
Oh, no.
going to, but my Super Trem just started cutting in and out on the fritz. It was a perfect excuse.
Brilliant. Thank you.
What could be wrong with your Super Trem then? Just clean the inputs and output jacks as a first port of call. Just make sure that the power connector is connected properly. Sounds something intermittent like that sounds like a connection problem.
Yeah, the foot switch as well. Get some.
Yes, of course.
Always a foot switch.
Number one problem in pedals, isn't it? Foot
Yep.
switch. But we hope you enjoy the Monk. Let us know what you think.
Yeah.
Yeah. Don't forget Tony Iommi, says Paul Matulovic. Of course, of course.
I am Iron Dan.
Sound Propeller Patrick says, I'm a lefty who plays right-handed guitars upside down as well as a lefty strung. It opens up a whole world to learn both string orientations. Wow.
Oh, you know what? That'll be interesting. To string the guitar upside down as a right-handed player. That'd be really interesting.
Yeah, no. I think it's hard enough.
Yeah, sure.
The Great Dell says BB King was apparently lefty and he played righty.
Wow.
Mark Knopfler and Steve Morse are left-handed but play rightly. I mean, that's astonishing.
Have you seen Steve Morse live?
Only at NAMM.
Okay. I've seen him a couple of times. And I was once in Sydney at the Basement. I sat right in front of him watching his right hand. This right hand technique is amazing.
Yeah.
It's so unique.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, that song, Too Many Notes.
Right.
And I sat there going, because I was quite a fan of the stuff that he did with
Dixie Dregs.
Dixie Dregs. Oh, wow. And that's that thing. Yeah, what an astonishing guitar player. But anyway, I was just mesmerized by his right hand technique. It looks so awkward.
Yeah.
But he was these crazy fast arpeggios over the whole neck. So accurate. It's like, man, amazing.
I'm not massively familiar, I have to say. Jared Crespel says, what about acoustic guitar boards? I'm running my Ovation through a wet dry Black Star Fender rig. I would love to see a video around this. Thanks for everything, guys, and for keeping me sane.
I am getting my guitar built at the moment from Johnny Kincaid, and when that gets done, I'm going to have a little acoustic board for that.
You're going to put a pickup in it then?
I'm going to put not an undersaddle pickup in it.
Yeah.
I'll put some little bugs on it like yours.
K&K, yeah. It's really great, that system.
Yeah.
I mean,
it's really weird.
You need a preamp with it, but
totally. Yeah. But I don't want anything under the
no.
there.
And the other thing is, it keeps the guitar lovely and light.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. It's
Jesse
interesting acoustic
Hoff.
boards, because when you're saying about wet dry with Black Star and Fender, that's bringing to mind people like John Butler and John Martin, for that matter. To me, where the acoustic guitar moves into this completely different realm. I've never gone there.
No.
I think it's super interesting. It sounds amazing, but I love the sound of that thing so much.
Of course.
I don't want to.
But the hardest thing with that is getting that sound bit louder.
Yeah.
I've never been able to do it.
Well, you've just got to accept that it doesn't exist.
Right.
And therefore,
fair enough.
What's your best compromise?
Yeah.
And also, the truth is, that sound but louder doesn't work. All the frequencies are wrong.
Yeah, right.
If you mic up that and put it in an auditorium, it doesn't mix with guitar, bass and drums. It doesn't. Right. I mean, don't get me wrong, for a solo acoustic performance, it'd be pretty stunning. But the sound of that acoustic pickup sound, at its absolute worst, clacky, 3K undersaddle,
3K,
to some of the better options like internal microphones mixed with undersaddles, things like the LR Baggs Anthem, even the K&K with a decent preamp. In that whole gamut of really truly awful to actually pretty decent.
Yeah,
that has become the sound of amplified acoustic guitar, isn't it?
The best acoustic guitar sound I ever heard. I went and saw Transatlantic, and Neil Morse, the singer keyboard player, he was playing this tune, and it was so beautiful. And I met him after the gig. I said, I've got to ask you how you did that. He said, I just plugged it straight in the DI.
Yeah.
It's a piezo pickup, straight into the DI. That was it. No special preamp, no nothing. The front of house guy went, no, just had a bit of reverb on that. It was majestic.
There it is.
Yep.
Yeah.
Unreal.
It's a problem for a lot of people, isn't it?
It's worth exploring that because the acoustic shows are really fun. I think you and I have probably done more acoustic shows than we've done electric shows, as far as our gigging life is concerned.
Oh, yeah. Well, certainly in the last 5 years, anyway.
Yeah.
Before that, not so much.
The stuff I did with Doug. We did so many acoustic gigs, and I learnt so much doing that. One thing I learnt was I don't really want to do it, as my sole gig thing anymore.
Yeah.
Because it's really hard to get the acoustic thing amplified right. But when you see guys like John Smith,
yeah,
and he has this real vision for his sound.
he's on a different level, that guy.
Yeah, he is.
John's got a new album out, by the way. John Smith fans.
Oh, really?
If you don't know who John is, check out. We did a video with John a couple of years back, a year or so. I don't know how long ago it was. Must have been much more than a year because we've been locked down for a year.
Yeah.
John is just an unbelievable player, singer, songwriter, and he's got a new record out. So please check out John's new record. But yeah, his sound. Oh my God.
Part of his sound, a lot of his sound is tailored around his voice.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's not just the sound of his playing and guitar, but the way that works with his songs and the way he sings. It's sort of this one sort of unified thing. It's just wonderful. He's so cool too.
Kyle Rovergug says, boo acoustic gigs. I had these bar gigs opening for electric rock bands as solo acoustic. Rough gigs. They are. I used to kind of keep my hand in when there weren't very many band gigs. My dad used to run an open mic night in his local pub. Bear in mind, my dad is 77, and this was only a couple of years ago. And he'd run this open mic afternoon, so I'd go there and play and sing some songs just to keep my voice working and, remember what it's like to play in front of humans. Well, people anyway. And you literally, anyone who's done this will be able to relate, but I'd be singing my heart out. I don't know, singing like Jolene by Ray Montaigne or, I don't know, some love song or whatever. Or even, if they're not listening, I'd do a couple of Taylor Swift songs or whatever. And there'd be a guy like 8 feet from me. The louder I would get,
the louder he'd talk.
The louder he would shout at his mate about who's playing football that week.
Oh,
and I used
boy.
So then I would take this as a bit of, when I was in a good mood, I'd take this as a bit of sport, and so I'd go really quiet. And just see how loud he would keep talking, and then, really boom out as loud as I can, and it's like, oh my God. So yes, we feel your pain, Kyle. But I've got to say, I actually think one of my favourite musical situations is with a controlled electric band playing acoustic and singing.
Wow.
So we should try it.
Sure.
So get Doug and Paddy in. You make all the beautiful electric noises.
I'll make noises. Kind of vouch for the
Play
beauty of them.
acoustic, get Doug on the old batter rods. I just think it's such a dynamic place to be, especially when you've got a couple, 2 or 3 parts.
Sensitive musicians.
Vocal harmonies.
Oh, yeah.
And that to me is a beautifully musical place. James Taylor's band, James Taylor's live band is a good example of that. Let's line them up. Steve Gadd playing drums. You've got Jimmy Johnson on bass. You've got Larry Goldings on keys. You've got Mike Landau on guitar. It's like, and apologies, I don't know the name of the backing singers, but you've also got 3 absolutely unbelievably good backing singers, 2 or 3, plus JT playing and singing. It is one of the most musical live experiences I've ever experienced. Just phenomenal musicality.
One of the things that needs to be rectified is I've never seen James Taylor, but I've never seen Steve Gadd play. And he's my favourite drummer. I've never seen him play live, and it eats me. So I need to see him play live.
Well, here's hoping that post-COVID, either the Steve Gadd band or Landau's band, or do another Ronnie Scott's thing.
Unreal.
Right. Oh my God, you're finally back, says Ranzer. Can't believe I missed the start of the show. Yeah. We are back. Priscilla Zahn says, Mick, that trick that worked best in playing acoustic music in loud pubs was dedicating songs to the loudest table in the room. That is a good shout.
Nice.
That is a good shout. There used to be, actually, I shouldn't be too specific in case any of this comes back on me, but there were a couple of people in particular who were particularly difficult. So I would ask them what they wanted to hear and ask them to sing along, and that would help.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah.
And we got to the point, it was very unprofessional, but it got to the point when, so Doug and I were playing the Walkabout in Cardiff every Friday night and did that for years and years and years. And it got to the point where we'd be watching the clock and have it set up.
Yeah.
And we'd be playing something, watching the clock, and just count down. Thank you very much, good night.
Bing!
It's like, yep, that's it.
That's it, we're done.
Done. Oh, man.
We used to play a pub in Frome, halfway up the hill, and this really loud rock band.
Right.
And I remember it had a nightclub upstairs, so we'd play until about midnight or something, I don't know, 11 o'clock, half 11. And all the young people would come in, like, dressed in hilarious clubbing clothes and walk past the band, and I just remember all these girls going...
Going into boom-ts, boom-ts, boom-ts.
Yeah, looking at us like, what are those old men doing with those wooden things? What is that?
We used to do a gig. Where was it? Was it Bromley or somewhere? And the band would play, and then halfway through the first set, the doors for the nightclub would open. So you'd have the front room, and then next to that would be the full-on dance place.
Yeah.
And everyone would be in there jumping around, having a great time. And then halfway through your first set, it would empty.
Yeah.
And everyone just runs into this place, and you're sat there going,
Yeah.
there you go.
Isn't that what it was? Gabor Benedek, we'll take, this will be the last one, I think. Gabor Benedek, hi Gabor, or Gabor, however you say that. He says, can the Gretsch G6173 TCB Black Panther, I think that's basically a Black Falcon, isn't it?
Okay.
Am I right there or not?
No idea.
Be used for punk and hard rock. I'm worried that the Filtertrons wouldn't be the best for that kind of sound. Gabor,
Oh, no.
please check out Chris Cheney from a band called The Living End and watch what he does with a Gretsch with Filtertrons in it.
My very dear friend, Paul Wheeler, drummer from Ice House, plays occasionally with Living End. And I've seen him do what he does, and he is one of the greatest rock and roll, rockabilly guitar players who's ever lived.
Chris Cheney.
From
Yeah,
Living
yeah.
End.
Or Cheney, I'm sorry, I don't know.
Seriously, I mean, he is. I remember seeing them before he went, because they used to be like a punk band. He had like Super Strat and stuff, like, you know, in the really, really early days. I remember seeing him play guitar, going, you know, he had a mohawk and all this stuff. But then seeing him do that stuff on a Gretsch with this unbelievable guitar sound, you know, upright bass, far out. Unreal.
Awesome band.
Yeah,
He
yeah.
uses like last time I talked to him, he was using those 200 watt Wizard amps, the ones that Malcolm used, I think. Wow. Anyway, good. That's us then. 7 o'clock. Thank you much for being with us. And we're back. Yeah, we're going to start filming properly again on Thursday, which means a week on Friday there'll be a normal That Pedal Show episode. Well, normal-ish. Yeah.
Cannot wait. I'm so looking forward to filming on Thursday. I might just sleep here and wait.
I would like to share a gag I saw on Instagram from Lee Anderton. You mentioning the Gretsch guitars and the guitar names. What was it? It was something to do with the naming of Ibanez guitars.
Right.
And there was a guy at a computer keyboard. I think he dropped something across the keyboard. He's like, here's how they name Ibanez guitars. Oh, hello. And that's kind of how it is with Gretsch as well, isn't it? It's like, wow, God.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Anyway. I'm sure, to all the Gretsch diehards, it's a sacred,
they'll know.
Code.
Yeah. I think it's quite easy when you work it out with Ibanez.
Okay.
Not for me. Good. Right. Thanks for being with us.
Thank you so much.
We're back.
So great to be back in the room.
It really is. It's a bit warm as well, unusually.
It's the love. Have a fantastic week. With any luck, we'll have a vlog up on Thursday.
Yeah.
And then back to next Friday, an actual show.
Yeah. We do, for those of you who are still with us, because if you're still with us, you must be keen. It won't be next Thursday, but on the Thursday soon, we're going to start doing something called Live at 5, which is instead of us talking, it's going to be a live show, and it will be a variation of the main show, but with playing and discussion and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So just keep your eye on Thursdays at 5. We're probably a couple of weeks away at least from that. Got some other things just to sort out, but
that'll be fun.
Yeah, we're liking the live format.
Yeah, brilliant. Thanks so much, everyone. Have a fantastic week, and we will see you soon.
Cheerio!
Bye.